Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat. Shinvatam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridi Anta Stohi Apadrani Vidu Noti Shritsatam Nasta Prayashu Apadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishake. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, verses 11 to 12. Maitreya Uvacha Ganga Yamanor Najur Antara Kshetram Avasan Araban Eva Buje Bogam Punya Jihasaya. Maitreya Uvacha. The great sage Maitreya said, Ganga, the river Ganges, Yamunayo, of the river Yamuna, Nadyoho, of the two rivers, Antara, between, Kshetram, the land, Avasan, living there, Arabdan, destined, Eva, like, Bubuje, enjoyed, Bogan, fortunes, Punya, pious activities, Jihasaya, for the purpose of diminishing. Translation. The great saintly sage Maitreya told Vidura, My dear Vidura, King Prithu lived in the tract of land between the two great rivers, Ganges and Yamuna. Because he was very opulent, it appeared that he was enjoying his destined fortune in order to diminish the results of his past pious activities. Purport. The terms pious and impious are applicable only in reference to the activities of an ordinary living being, but Maharaj Prithu was a directly empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, he was not subject to the reactions of pious or impious activities. As we have already explained previously, when a living being is specifically empowered by the Supreme Lord to act for a particular purpose, he is called a Shakti Vaishavatar. Prithu Maharaj was not only a Shakti Vaishavatar, but also a great devotee. A devotee is not subjected to the reactions resulting from past deeds. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Karmani Niradhati Nityu Cha Bhakti Bhajan. For devotees, the results of past pious and impious activities are nullified by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The words Arabdan, Eva mean as if achieved by past deeds, but in the case of Prithu Maharaj, there was no question of reaction to past deeds, and thus the word Eva is used here to indicate comparison to ordinary persons. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Avajananti mam mudaha. This means that sometimes people misunderstand an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be an ordinary man. The Supreme Godhead, his incarnations, or his devotees may pose themselves as ordinary men, but they are never to be considered as such, nor should an ordinary man not supported by authorized statements of the Shastras and Acharyas be accepted as an incarnation or devotee. By the evidence of Shastra, Sanatana Goswami detected Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be a direct incarnation of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Lord Chaitanya never disclosed the fact, it is therefore generally recommended that the Acharya or Guru should not be accepted as an ordinary man. Verse 12. Sarvatra Shalita Deshaha Sapta Dripeka Dandadrik Anyatra Brahmanakulad Anyatra Chutta Gotrataha. Synonyms: Sarvatra, everywhere; Askalita, irrevocable; Adeshaha, order; Sapta Saptadvipa, 7 islands. Eka, 1. Dandadrik, the ruler who holds the scepter. Anyatra, except Brahmana Kulat, Brahmanas and saintly persons. Anyatra, except Achyuta Gotraha, descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaishnavas. Translation. Maharaj Prithu was an unrivaled king and possessed the scepter for ruling all the 7 islands on the surface of the globe. No one could disobey his irrevocable orders, but the saintly persons, the Brahmanas, and the descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Vaishnavas. Purport. Saptadvipa refers to the 7 great islands or continents on the surface of the globe. 1 Asia, 2 Europe, 3 Africa, 4 North America, 5 South America, 6 Australia, and 7 Oceania. In the modern age, people are under the impression that during the Vedic period or the prehistoric ages, America and many other parts of the world have not been discovered. But that is not a fact. Prithu Maharaj ruled over the world many thousands of years before the so-called prehistoric age, and it is clearly mentioned here that in these days not only were all the different parts of the world known, but they were ruled by one king, Maharaj Prithu. The country where Prithu Maharaj resided must have been India, because it is stated in the 11th verse of this chapter that he lived in the tract of land between the river Ganges and Yamuna. This tract of land, which is called Brahmavarta, consists of what is known in the modern age as portions of Punjab and northern India. It is clear that the kings of India once ruled all the world, and that their culture was Vedic. The word Ashhalita indicates that orders by the kings could not be disobeyed by anyone in the entire world. Such orders, however, were not issued to control saintly persons or the descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. The Supreme Lord is known as Achyuta, and Lord Krishna is addressed as such by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Senayor apayor madhye ratam sthapayami achyuta. Achyuta refers to one who does not fall because he is never influenced by the modes of material nature. When a living entity falls down to the material world from his original position, he becomes Chuta, which means that he forgets his relationship with Achyuta. Actually, every living entity is a part and parcel, or a son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When influenced by the modes of material nature, a living entity forgets this relationship and thinks in terms of different species of life. But when he again comes to his original consciousness, he does not observe such bodily designations. This is indicated in Bhagavad Gita 5.18 by the words Pandita Samadarshinaha. Material designations create differentiation in terms of caste, color, creed, nationality, etc. Different gotras or family designations are designations in terms of the material body. But when one comes to Krishna consciousness, he immediately becomes one of the Achyuta Gotra, or descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus becomes transcendental to all considerations of caste, creed, color, and nationality. Prithu Maharaj had no control over the Brahmana Kula, which refers to the learned scholars in Vedic knowledge, nor over the Vaishnavas, who are above the considerations of Vedic knowledge. It is therefore said, Arche Vishnu Shiladir Guru Shu Nara Matir Vaishnave Jati Buddhir Vishnurva Vaishnavanam Kali Mala Matane Pada Tirthe Ambu Buddhihi Shri Vishnur Namni Mantre Sakala Kalusahe Shabda Samanya Buddhir Vishnu Sarvish Parshe Tad Itara Samadir Yasya Va Naraki Saha. One who thinks the deity in the temple to be made of wood or stone, who thinks of the spiritual master in the disciplic succession as an ordinary man, who thinks the Vaishnav in the Achyuta Gotra to belong to a certain caste or creed, or who thinks of Charnamrita or Ganges water as ordinary water, is taken to be a resident of hell. From Padma Purana. From the facts presented in this verse, it appears that people in general should be controlled by a king until they come to the platform of Vaishnavas and Brahmanas who are not under the control of anyone. Brahmana refers to one who knows Brahman, or the impersonal feature of the absolute truth, and a Vaishnava is one who serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paschate Satarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I like to seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify myself. Please forgive me for any shortcomings. So in this verse, we see that we're reading the section on instructions of Maharaj Prithu, who is a great devotee of the Lord, and he is depicted as an empowered king and a Shakti Vesh avatar. And we heard that Shakti Vesh avatar is an incarnation where Krishna's energy is infused into a certain being, allowing them to accomplish extraordinary tasks. While Shakti Vesh avatars like King Prithu may appear to be ordinary beings, they are not bound by the ordinary rules of material nature. Maharaj Prithu, as a Shakti Vesh avatar, is empowered by the Lord himself and is unaffected by pious or impious activities. Shakti-based avatars have the purpose to restore Dharma in some way or protect the creation of the universe. Prabhupada explained that a Shakti-based avatar does not have to be a devotee, although Maharaj Prithu was indeed a pure devotee. And in this case, Maharaj Prithu is also our Acharya for Archanam in the 9 processes of devotional service. A Shakti-Vish avatar does not have to fully incarnate, such as the Purna avatars. And for examples of a Purna avatar, we see Lord Ramchandra or Lord Krishna. Instead, for the Shakti-Vish avatar, a portion of Krishna's energy is infused into a chosen personality, granting them the ability to accomplish tasks aligned with the will of Krishna. These personalities are often sages or leaders who serve as mediators for Krishna, performing specific missions on his behalf. Lord Parashuram was also a Shakti-Vish avatar and also an incarnation of the Lord. And his mission was to destroy corrupt rulers and restore Dharma. Narada Muni carries Krishna's Bhakti Shakti and he influences various personalities in many of Krishna's pastimes as a Shakti-Vish avatar. The key difference between a Shakti-Vish avatar and a full incarnation is that the former involves the partial manifestation of Krishna's energy, while the latter involves the complete manifestation of the divine form of Krishna, seen as Krishna or Rama. And so we also read in the 12th verse of Saptadvipa, and we know that the world is composed of 75% water, and the 7 continents float in the oceans. And this is something that the ancient sages knew already through Shabda Brahman, knowledge passed down through sacred scriptures. And for us, we become forgetful of who we really are in our relationship with Krishna. When we are identifying ourselves with material designations, our bodies, occupations, our social status, and then that's when we enter into the fallen condition. And this condition results from our forgetfulness of our original relationship with Krishna. Avidya, or ignorance, is the cause of this fall. And when we are covered by avidya, we forget our true nature. We identify with the body, thinking, I am this body, and we forget our connection with Krishna. This forgetfulness leads to chuta, the fallen condition. However, even in this state, there is hope for redemption. As the Bhagavad Gita 6.40 says, those who fall from their spiritual practices do not perish. They can continue their progress in future lives. Achyuta is one of Krishna's names, and it means the infallible or imperishable. The name emphasizes Krishna's unchanging eternal nature, as Krishna is unaffected by the material modes of nature and does not ever fall into error. He remains constant, offering refuge and protection to all beings. As parts and parcels of Achyuta, we are also eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. However, due to our identification with material energy, we become Chuta, or fallen. This fall is a result of forgetfulness, but the process of devotional service can help us revive our consciousness and reconnect with our eternal nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna addresses the fate of a yogi who has fallen from their path, saying that such a person does not perish and continues their journey in future lives, either attaining a higher status or birth in a virtuous family. Bhagavad Gita 6.40. The Chuta state is not a permanent one. Through sincere spiritual effort, we can rise again. This is the essence of bhakti. By performing devotional service, we can revive our dormant Krishna consciousness. And in terms of gotra, go means cow, and it's symbolizing nourishment, and tra means safeguard, meaning a lineage that preserves the tradition. In the context of bhakti yoga, though, our gotra is the lineage of Achyuta, or Krishna. We, as his devotees, belong to his family and share his eternal qualities. And by engaging in the 9 processes, such as how King Prithu is our acharya for Archana, we can revive our connection to this divine lineage and come to know our true nature. In the first paragraph of Srila Prabhupada's purport to the 12th verse, he mentions how the world was ruled by kings of India and the culture was Vedic. We can see this today when we look in different parts of the world. We can see there are worshippers of the sun in South America. In Inca, their carvings in their architecture are so precise and has lasted so many thousands of years, and this is also from Vedic culture. The same kind of structure that the old temples of India are made of, we can observe in different parts of the world. We can even observe a Shiva with Nandi or Krishna playing the flute carved in certain pillars in China. The eternal Vedic culture will survive in at least some parts of the world, such as today with the yoga and meditation, which have spread largely into the West. Through the practice of the 9 processes of bhakti, we can revive our original consciousness, reconnecting with Krishna. As we perform our duties with the proper consciousness, recognizing that we are his eternal servants, we can transcend our fallen condition and rediscover our true identity. Ultimately, devotion to Krishna is the means of liberation, allowing us to re-enter into the spiritual world. And these are summarized from notes of Srila Prabhupada, Jai Nitai Prabhu, Bhava Bhakti Mataji, and Her Grace Radhika Devi Dasi from Hare Krishna, Melbourne. With that, I would like to conclude this summary. Please forgive me for any shortcomings, any mistakes?